start either in a seated shape or laying back down, whatever's best for you, however you want to start your practice. No right or wrong, no better or worse, just to make sure before you're fully comfortable, you have some like pillows and blankets and things that you'd like to use. In the event that you wouldn't have your pillows and blankets, even if you had towels or sweaters or something. But when you're ready, again, whether you're seated or laying down, you're welcome to close your eyes when you're ready. If closing the eyes isn't comfortable for you today, you can keep the gaze soft. And then we'll allow ourselves here to arrive into our space. Noticing the stillness within the body. Noticing the sounds within the breath. And then noticing your gaze at the backs of the eyelids. Seeing what presents itself for you here. And it's within this space that it's almost as if we were looking into a mirror to see our reflection, but we're trying to see behind the reflection. So we're looking into layers that lie a little more deeply within the body. We're noticing how it feels, how we feel, how the sensations of stretch will begin to feel once we arrive. So as we allow ourselves to enter into this space, continue to draw the senses inward. And in some ways, through our meditative aspect of practice, we're allowing us to see, to meet ourselves at that reflection, but then looking a layer behind. Maybe if the reflection could share its own experience, what would it say? So arriving into our practice with no right or wrong, with no better or worse, we'll first allow ourselves to welcome the breath. Together, let's inhale through the nose. Open the lips to exhale. Again, like that, deep breath in. And a deep breath out. One more time, full inhale. And complete exhale. And as you come back to the natural breath, notice the warmth within the body, fluttering within the belly, the chest, or anywhere within the face. You can keep your hands relaxed within your lap, or you can bring them into a prayer shape at heart center. You're welcome to take a cleansing breath, or maybe you'll join me for the sound of Om. But together, we'll take a deep breath in. Very gently bowing your chin towards your chest. Take a moment to allow the vibrations to settle within the heart space, allowing them to reverberate off of the walls of the inner body and seal our intentions for practice. So from here, you can slowly open the eyes, you can bring the hands away. Coming out of our seated shape, or if you're lying down, you'll come back up to sit, but we're gonna allow ourselves to start in deer. So I'm just gonna shift to the side. If we were to all be cross-legged, you're gonna guide your left shin in front of you. Woo. As you rotate your right knee behind you, you might tip over there. But with this left knee or left shin in front, right knee is gonna come back behind. So at that point, if I were to mirror you here, because we're tilting a little bit more into the left hip as the pelvis tilts, you may wanna take a pillow or a blanket and prop your left sitting bone. or both sides, depending what you need. Now, if you have blocks or things that you like to use as blocks, whatever you want to stack, right? So this is where we're going to stack things. Maybe a pillow, maybe a blanket, a couple pillows, a couple blankets. And then we're going to allow ourselves to fold over that left shin. Now, of course, as you get closer to the ground, you'll round more into the spine. But if today you need to round less, just hold on to that pillow or to hold on to that blanket. Wrap it around the body. You can even hold things and stack things in a vertical way. If this was more of a bolster, that would be pretty stable and your forehead can come down. So really using the props in any which way that serves you, no right or wrong. If you have a question, let me know. Do you have a question? No? Okay. So whenever you're ready, you can settle into the shape. You can close your eyes and come into stillness. No rush here. The body may ask you to readjust from time to time. The front shin could be as close to you or as far away as you want. The back knee could be as close to you or as far away as you want. As we enhance our skills of understanding the yin practice, we continuously come back to framework, but remembering that there's no real right or wrong. Listening to the body express itself through that sensation of stretch or sensations, depending on what you feel. But then within this space, you'll continue to breathe towards those places of stretch. Until you're ready to allow yourself to relax and ease in to any discomfort. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax the chest as you release the belly, softening through your glutes. Relax into the skin behind the knees. Soften through the calves, the soles of the feet. And each time we soften, the body might guide us differently. The body might suggest the hand going here, the shin going there, the chin going there. So trusting yourself, trusting the ability to understand what the body is expressing. And from time to time, you'll come back to the breath. Now within your deer shape, you might take 1 or 2 more cycles of breath. And then whenever you're ready, eyes are closed, gaze is soft. We can gently press down into the floor. We'll start to walk ourselves up and out of the shape. And then you'll allow yourself to unravel. So maybe your hands come back behind you. You swing your legs forward. Maybe you still feel a forward fold. That could feel good for you. Maybe you want to twist. Maybe your body's going to guide you to lay back down so that you can hug your knees into your chest. So when we come into these little movements here, again, it's very intuitive. And by intuitive, I mean just do what feels right. When we talk about our fascia, we talk about hydrating it, right? Drinking water to hydrate the tissues. And our intuitive movements here, after that stretch, is a way to hydrate the fascia. So don't hinder yourself by any means, moving in any which way, until you allow yourself to pause and rebound. And that pause takes you back into stillness. You're going to take this meditative moment on your back, on your belly, sitting up. And just take a moment to observe. You'll feel the subtle sensations of the fascia contracting back towards the joints, muscles and bones and organs. You'll get that meditative moment to notice the breath. Feel a sense of relief in the body as it can let go whatever it was carrying. And then from here, you might stay a little longer in your rebound, or you'll awaken from rebound. And as you awaken out of rebound, we'll come back up to sit, no rush. You might even take a movement or two in the interim of that. And then we'll come into deer on the opposite side. So then this time, your right shin will come in front of you and your left knee rotates behind you. And at that point too, you can do whatever you want with this back ankle. Toes pointing behind you, toes pointing to the side. It really just depends like on your personal bone rotation in your shin and ankle and knee. So do what's most comfortable. And again, you might sit on a blanket to prop the tailbone. And as you fold, you might be, stacking pillows and stacking blankets or a block for the forehead. So no right or wrong there. If you ever need more stretch, or need less stretch and you're not sure how to get there, you're more than welcome to ask. But now as we're starting to notice the sensations, readjust wherever necessary, beginning to arrive into the experience, and then we can choose to soften. And as we relax into this shape, it gives us the opportunity to let go of unnecessary tension. It gives us the opportunity to let go of unnecessary control. Patiently release any gripping or clenching that you notice. And it will need to happen in layers, so be patient. And as we check in with our breath, checking in with the gaze at the backs of the eyelids, not trying to put ourselves in any sort of box, any sort of category. Following this framework of our yin practice, but the rules are very individual based. You'll want to be somewhat comfortable, somewhat uncomfortable, but never in pain. And that experience will be different for all of us in every one of these shapes. So then here within deer, you're welcome to stay a little longer. Or whenever you're ready, we'll gently begin to press down into the floor. You'll slowly lift the head and chest. And in doing so, you might find yourself facing a different angle within the room. You might be facing a completely different direction. But as you move here, right, again, quenching the thirst of the fascia, any little movements that feel, the body's desiring them for whatever reason, which is really just continuing to communicate to you based on the fascial stretch, you'll arrive into those movements until you're ready to find your rebound. Until you're ready to come back to pause, to come back to stillness. And just taking that moment of self-observation, taking that moment of reflection. Also noticing the body's physical response. Taking another moment of breath here. And then if you'd like to stay in rebound a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. Or you're welcome to come back to a seated shape. And when you come back to sit, again, you'll take any intuitive movements along the way. There's no right or wrong, no better or worse. Okay. And then this is going to guide us into our straight leg pigeon shape. So again, no rush. But with straight leg pigeon, and I'll show it from different sides. But if I was facing forward, I'm going to turn to my right so that my left leg straightens out. And then as I start to tip forward, I'm going to bend that right knee behind me so that I can walk myself over the thigh. Okay, but I'm going to show it to you from this way. So literally my left leg. I'm going to turn to the right, left leg straightens out, and I'll bend my right knee behind me. So that now I'm going to forward fold over that front thigh. The thing with this though is your left knee can bend a little bit, right? So it doesn't have to be lock straight, you can have a little bend. And also, if I were to do this, I don't know how, but just so I can show you, sometimes you're gonna need to prop the hip, right? Kind of just like a deer scenario. You might feel that there's too much weight in this one hip, your pelvis might be tilted, and it's most comfortable and helpful to have a little prop, especially if there's a lot of rounding and dipping in the back. So allow yourself to prop. And then again, you'll fold, right? And relax. Now, one more thing too, before I let you guys totally go. Now, with a pose like straight leg pigeon, sometimes reaching over the thigh just isn't gonna give you enough stretch. Maybe today it will, but maybe today it won't. So if you ever wanna walk towards that left foot, do so, and then relax, you know. Sometimes, depending on your body, you'll wanna walk away from the foot. So now you're gonna walk yourself the opposite direction, and you might get a different stretch. So feel free, as you're coming into the pose, feel free to kind of roam around until you decide what's best, right? If just coming over that front thigh is best, then stay. But if it's moving towards the foot or moving away from the foot, let yourself do it. And then if you have any questions, let me know. Okay. So your left leg is straight, right knee is bent behind you. You can face any direction. Again, left hip might need a support. Right knee, right? Maybe your right knee isn't touching the ground. Maybe that right hip has a lot of fascial tissue that is tight. Prop your right knee. In the event that an ankle bone or something is digging into the ground and it just doesn't feel good, prop an ankle. So again, no right or wrong. Not rushing to the deepest stretch, the quickest. We almost could compare it to feeling like the boiling of water. It's very subtle, and then throughout our time, it may increase, it may heighten. It may become louder to us in some way. Or maybe your sensations at first are a little more abrupt and they begin like the actual boiling of water, and then they ease over time as if the flame was dwindling. But regardless of the sensation, not letting that define the experience, allowing yourself to soften. And as you allow yourself to soften, you release into the muscles, into the bones, into the organs. And staying present here. Within this shape, you might be taking one more cleansing breath, and then you can choose to stay a little bit longer. Or very gently, you'll begin to press down into the floor. We'll start to come back to the seated shape. And you'll let that back knee unravel. In doing so, it might feel good to forward fold naturally over straight legs. Your body might want to take a twist, or your arms are going to want to reach up. Right? And again, you're welcome to find that space and rebound seated, laying down in some other shape. There's no right or wrong. Lots of times I like to wrap my arms around my shins and bring my forehead down. But within this rebound space, if you don't really relate to this idea of meditating, right, just allow yourself to stop and smell the roses here. And in a way, it's a meditation, taking that moment to observe, noticing the way in which the body is breathing, almost as if you were watching yourself. Noticing reclaimed space within the tissues, allowing us to feel a little more taller. And then if you'd like to stay here a little longer, you're welcome to stay in your rebound. Or we're going to come into straight leg pigeon on the opposite side. So in the event of the opposite side, now your right leg straightens, and then your left knee bends back behind you. And then you're going to fold over the right thigh. Again, you have the option to walk towards that right foot or walk away from the right foot. Your back left knee can be farther away and relax to the floor or closer. Just depends on where the knee is most comfortable. If the knee, for whatever reason, is going to be elevated, you'll want to take a blanket and prop that knee, allowing yourself to fold. But again, we're not fighting the body, so if lowering to the ground, I know sometimes that's the destination that we seek, but if we need more props, or if we need to be at the forearms, or if we need to be at the palms, we want to honor that. Again, our framework here is to follow the guidance of the body, not the desires of the mind. Whenever you're ready, you can find yourself softening, giving yourself the opportunity to be witnessed and heard and seen. Again, it's this idea of the reflection, but a layer deeper. And if it's helpful for you, you're always welcome to compare the sides. Now that we're on the right side, you might Notice or reflect how this could feel a little bit different than how the left side did. But by comparing, it's no competition. There's no victory. We're coming into these shapes as we allow ourselves to find these aspects of fulfillment. So again, checking in with your breath. Breathing as deeply or as quietly as you'd like. And wherever you are, you might find yourself with maybe 1 or 2 more cycles of breath as you begin to prepare the body to move. Your eyes are closed or the gaze can be soft as you release from straight leg pigeon when you're ready. And just allow yourself to unravel slowly. It might take you, or you could even surprise yourself as it takes you into different shapes than before. Facing any direction within the room. You'll notice, you might be coming into similar yoga shapes that you've previously done. Or maybe you'll just find yourself moving naturally, taking any sort of reaches or counter movements that the body can do. And then, of course, pausing whenever you're ready. Finding that place to take that moment to rebound. Letting that experience settle into the fascial memory and the muscle memory and the neural memory. Even just taking a moment to pay respect to the body, allowing the fascia to contract back. Because we spent so much time letting it stretch away, now we feel the echoes of it as it settles back towards the joints and such. From here, you're welcome to stay a little longer. You can stay in rebound for as long as you'd like, or we're going to gravitate towards our belly so that we can move into open wing. And if you're already on your belly, you can stay. But what we're going to do here is come to the belly. So you might need a pillow or a blanket. You could take a pillow or a blanket, whatever is best to support your head. Your head can rest on the floor, but sometimes the elevation is more helpful. Your left arm is going to come out to T, and then you're going to roll into the shoulder. Okay, so as we all roll into the left shoulder, the hand is behind you, right? So your left arm, you're not going to be able to see as you roll into the shoulder. You can start with your knees high into the chest. You can start with your legs straight. Maybe your back knee will lift in the air and the foot can come behind you or in front of you. It just depends on the rotation of your hip and what you'll want to do. Now, this may be fun for you to try in case it's accessible, but if that right knee is bent, sometimes I'll bend my left knee into the chest making like a diamond shape with my legs, and that tends to deepen my shoulder stretch. I might even take that bottom foot and kind of like sit it in the crease of my hip, like a half lotus shape. And then, you know, that's just something fun to do. Right? The purpose is just to show you that you can really do whatever you want, okay, as long as it's helpful to the body. If it causes pain, then we'll want to rearrange. In terms of that opposite right arm, the palm can stay in front of the chest, or you can pick it up and reach it all the way around the low back to take a half bind. The wrist can relax on the floor. So feel free to do whatever you'd like. One more thing, the left arm that's in open wing, that palm can face up or down. Again, whatever is best for the rotation of your shoulder and elbow. And then from here, we'll allow ourselves to arrive. Beginning to notice sensations, whether they're in the shoulder, the chest, the side body, the back, the glutes. The entire fascial web is interconnected, so why limit ourselves to just stretch in one place? We have the opportunity for the body to be our mirror, and wherever our fascia needs to stretch, that's what you'll feel first. So you can take your time softening when you're ready, letting go of unnecessary tension, letting go of unnecessary control. Remembering you're never stuck, so you can always rearrange if necessary. Again, following the framework of the practice, following the body's edge between comfort and discomfort. And staying present here. And if you'd like to stay in open wing a little longer, you're welcome to. But if that back right arm is behind you, we'll begin to lift it up towards the ceiling and then guide it back down in front of us. If your legs are apart, we'll guide one leg back on top of the other leg. And then we'll help ourselves slowly roll out of that left shoulder. You might lift up for a moment until you lower the chest back down. You can bring the hands underneath you, behind you, above you. And sometimes your body's going to gravitate right to rebound. However, if you want a little movement, you can kick up the feet, windshield wiper the knees, and rock into the hips a little bit. As the legs relax, the palms could come underneath the chest. And sometimes the fascia is going to crave extension, and you might want to pull the chest forward in low cobra or high cobra. And then maybe you'll lift all the way up and take the hips into child's pose, or maybe you do something different. Taking whatever the body needs until you come into that pause to rebound. And letting the breath catch up to itself. Maybe even noticing all layers within the body breathing. Notice the nervous system recalibrating itself as well here. And if you'd like to stay in rebound a little longer, you're more than welcome to stay. But if you'd like to come into open wing on the opposite side, you're welcome to move around a little bit, taking any intuitive movement. And then again, we'll come back to the belly. You might find your pillow or blanket for the head. Right arm is out to T. And then we'll all roll into the right shoulder. Okay, and then again, same options with the legs. Knees can be high into the chest. Legs could go long. One knee can bend behind you. And then again, if you want to take that little fun variation, you can always let your bottom foot there kind of sit within the crevice of that left hip if the knee is bent. Left arm can stay in front of you relaxed, or you can reach it up and around the low back and take a half bind. Palm can face up or down on this right arm. And then it's interesting to gauge, the experiences. And this just popped into my head. Like you're gonna find certain poses that like really feel good to the body, even though it could be uncomfortable in some ways, but it's that good uncomfortable type of stretch. And then you'll kind of float your way out and find your rebound, and you're just gonna be like, okay, I'm in rebound, here I am. But then there's open wing. And for me, the actual stretch of open wing like doesn't really excite me, but the rebound from that, super exciting. Right? You're just like flat on your chest and you're just like, whoa, especially after that shoulder or side body stretch. So again, just reflecting on experiences, you're going to find certain stretches that bring you to that place, and then you're going to find even better rebounds that guide you into that meditative, mindful place. But it's all about coming back into the awareness of the body. Noticing where the fascia needs to stretch. And by allowing it to, we give ourselves that opportunity to increase our optimal function. We increase that interconnection and that relationship between the mind, body, and spirit. More importantly, we come into a practice where the rules don't matter and it's just doing what feels right in the moment. So if you haven't softened yet, you can begin to soften here. If you've already softened, you can take the time to release and let go again. Continue to observe, maybe even watching the sensations shift. And then from here, you can choose to stay a little longer, or we'll begin to release from open wing. If the left arm is bounded behind you, slowly guide it in front. If your legs are apart, you'll take one leg back on top of the other as you slowly roll on to the belly, helping yourself release out of the stretch. Arms can be underneath you, above you, back behind you. You might even immediately pause, unless you'd like to take a few counter movements. You're welcome to do so. Windshield wipering the knees maybe. Again, lifting the chest up any amount. Maybe the hips reaching back to the heels to find child's pose, or maybe you even roll onto your back if you don't want to be on the belly. But then these counter movements are just that transitional phase to bring us back to that pause, to rebound. And checking in. You can even use this time to come back to focus if you felt a little distracted for any reason. And then from here, if you'd like to stay and rebound a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. Or we'll gently take some intuitive movement and then coming back up to sit whenever you're ready. We are going to lay down so that we can come into reversed wing. But if you want to sit up first, you can. You can come into reversed wing and or banana with that. So I'm going to talk about kind of like a double stretch, but in reversed wing, kind of like when we take our binds behind our low backs, like we just had that option to an open wing, we're going to still do that, but we're laying down. So what I mean is we're going to come to lay down. Actually, I'll face this way. We're going to come to lay down, and you still might have a pillow for the head. Once you lift up your hips, and if you do have jewelry on like your forearms, I would suggest just taking it off, but I'm just going to leave this on to show you. So your left arm is going to walk underneath your back, right? Any natural arch in the back, higher, lower, just depends on your body. And if walking your entire forearm is too much underneath you, is too much stretch too quick, just take your palm, or you'll take your wrist, or you'll do the whole forearm. Now, sometimes we're going to start with just the knees bent. If this is a lot of sensation, you might choose to straighten one leg, you might choose to straighten both legs. Okay, now, in the event that you want to add on taking the banana shape within the lower body, you can do that here. So for example, I might walk my legs to the left. And now I feel something more on this side of my body, on my personal right side. But maybe you try walking your legs to the right. Okay, so now it's deepening it on the left side of my body. So again, just like that whole straight leg pigeon thing, you can roam around and do what's best for you. Do that here as well. Right? So you'll arrive into your reversed wing shape, knees bent, one knee bent, both legs straight. In the event that you want to kind of play around, you're welcome to curve the body either to the left or to the right, and that's mimicking our banana shape from the lower side anyway. And then in terms of your right hand might rest on your body, it might rest off of the body. If you lift up the right arm up above the head, that could even change the shoulder blade and how the left shoulder blade feels. Because remember, fascia is connected, so when we move things in different directions, we're tugging at the tissue differently. And because we're never stuck, we can constantly meet the body where we're at. And then if the body wants more, again, meet the body where you're at. If the body wants less, change again, meet the body where it's at. And through all of this meeting and greeting, we allow ourselves to soften, letting go of unnecessary tension, letting go of unnecessary control. Checking in with the gaze at the backs of the eyelids. Noticing what presents itself here. Continuing to sit within the space of your own company. Whether your sensations are upper body, middle of the body, lower of the body, all great places to stretch. And whatever variation you're in, we'll keep the arms where they are, but let's first begin by slowly unraveling the legs. So if you were curved a little bit, allow yourself to uncurve, bending one knee in at a time. And then as you begin to lean over to the right, you can release this left arm from beneath you. And it might feel good to just open the arms out to T. It might feel good to stretch the arms above you. You might find the knees windshield wipering from side to side, or again, hugging the knees into the chest. And taking any intuitive movement, whatever the energetic body craves at that time. This is us picking up those senses from the fascia in the same way we say, now I'm hungry, or now I'm thirsty, or ooh, I want a strawberry, or ooh, yeah, I want a coffee, right? Those types of cravings. It's the same thing here, but just using a different sense. And so pausing just for a moment to allow the tissue to contract back, not rushing it by any means. Okay, and then if you want to stay here and rebound a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. Or we'll begin to lay back down. Again, you might find a pillow for the head, and then we'll bend the knees, lifting up the hips to thread the right arm underneath you, any amount, palm, wrist, or the entire forearm. And then again, let the left arm relax wherever it wants as you find the knees bending, one leg straightening, both legs straightening. If you choose to find that lower half banana curve, you might walk your legs to the right, or you might walk your legs to the left. And same idea as the ankle bone thing, you know, like if your shoulder blade is digging into the floor, which it could do because the bone is now a little bit more free with this bent elbow, just take a blanket and prop your shoulder, you know, or take a blanket and prop the head. Just to remember that we're not trying to fight the body. It's not about mind over matter. We want to support this experience of softening as we stretch the tissue. Applying necessary stress to the tissues of the joints. We don't want to force the body in any way. And then whenever you're ready, you might find yourself softening. Letting go of unnecessary grip or clench. Continuing to keep the breath present. If at any point you feel that the body feels unsafe to breathe, it's a good indication that we might be stretching too deeply. Again, you might be watching the sensations as they shift or travel. Sometimes we could feel heat or coolness being expressed through the nervous system itself, the nerves living within the fibers of the fascia. Wherever you are, we're going to keep the arms where they are and still, but we'll want to unravel the legs first. So slowly you'll uncurve the legs or bend the knees one at a time. And then when the body's ready to shift, it can start to roll itself to the left a little bit, unravel that right arm from beneath you. And then you'll find your intuitive counter movements, whether it's the lower body that craves movement, the middle of the body that craves movement, or the upper body, taking whatever you may need. And a moment to pause for yourself, checking in, noticing reclaimed space, length of tissue, expansion of breath. And then if you want to stay here a little longer, you can, or you're welcome to come back to sit just so that we can take our toe stretch before we close our class. Okay, so within our toe stretch, you might find yourself taking a blanket if you need to prop your knees, right? Especially depending on the type of floor you're on. Then you'll tuck your toes, and then you'll begin to sit back on your heels. And sitting back on your heels will be the deepest stretch, or one of the deepest stretches, because we're sitting back on our heels. But you're also welcome to take blocks or take pillows or whatever you want to bring in front of you. And you can always lean forward on the forearms. You can always tip forward a little bit, even bringing your palms down. Once you decide on the best place for toe stretch, you can settle into stillness with the chin neutral, or you can lower the chin. As you lower the chin, you might begin to stretch a little bit into the sides of the neck or the back of the neck as we relax the jaw, relax the tongue. And then like a domino effect, just continuing to let the body soften more and more. You might feel the body push back a little bit as your awareness travels closer towards your feet. The intensity almost makes the body not want to soften, but we are rewiring that habit. Continuously sending the breath, allowing ourselves to soften in all layers of comfort and discomfort. Take a moment to yourself. And then very slowly, whenever you're ready, you're going to start to begin to hinge forward. And as you do so, you'll untuck one foot, untuck the other foot, Right? You might pitter patter or drum the tops of the feet on the ground. You might pick up the feet and just shake them. Let your ankles be loose and your toes be loose as you roll into the ankles and move into the feet. Okay? So then as we feel our feet rebounding, we'll let ourselves arrive into our final rebound, which is our Shavasana. So depending on what you want to do here, you might find more props or less props, just depending on what's going to make you comfortable. If you want a pillow for the head, you're welcome to it. If you want a blanket or a pillow underneath the knees or something to cover the body, you're welcome to it. Arms can relax near you, or maybe let yourself take up some space along the floor. And then as we arrive into the stillness, noticing our connection between body and floor, we can allow the eyes to close when we feel comfortable. Taking one more sweep of consciousness, allowing the entire body to relax and soften. And then as we begin to absorb our practice, we'll welcome ourselves to Shavasana. Very gently Let's begin to deepen our breath, welcoming ourselves back into the space of our bodies, into the space of our rooms, and into the room we energetically share. From there, begin to notice the placement of your hands and feet. You can roll into the wrists and ankles. And then when you're ready for a little more, you can reach the arms up and above the head. Your knees might bend and they can hover in towards the chest. You can let your arms wrap around the shins or wrap around the backs of the thighs here. And then when you're ready, you can roll either to the left or to the right. Bottom arm can serve as a pillow for the head. And you might choose to end your practice on your side body, or you can gently push down into the floor and come back to a seated shape. From there, we'll reclose the eyes in case they've opened. And again, find stillness. Taking a moment to reflect on our practice, feeling the reclaimed space within the body, the expansion within our breath, any clarity in the heart or mind. Your hands can stay relaxed within the lap, or they can come into a prayer shape at heart center. We'll close our space tonight with one cleansing breath. As we inhale through the nose, open the lips to exhale. And as we gently bow our chins to our chest, thank you for practicing with me this evening, being elevated through yoga. Namaste.